and welcome to the Detling Showground.
We're here live with the best of the show, back after a 3-year absence.
Sun is shining, the crowds have been arriving, and there's plenty to see, do and enjoy over this 3-day extravaganza.
Seasonal workers and the rising costs of running a farm. We meet generations of farming families to hear their stories.
I'm out of breath. That's pathetic, isn't it?
Well, no.
I've only done 10 minutes work.
All in a day's work for Matt as he finds out how farmers in Kent are looking to the future.
And it wouldn't be a county show without these majestic creatures. A view up close with these birds of prey.
Hello and good evening. There's only one way to get around, and that's on a cart pulled by 2 horses. What a way to make an entrance.
Indeed. Now, the Kent County Show has been part of the agricultural calendar since 1923. And over the next 3 days, 100,000 people will be here. And it's been sorely missed, but it's back.
And there is so much to see and do. We have had an absolutely wonderful time, haven't we, Luke? An agricultural show at its best. Local produce, livestock, farming, everything you can imagine.
Well, let's take a look at what's on offer. More than 100 years of agricultural history represented here. I caught up with one proud owner.
It came to my midlife crisis and I thought, why not?
A midlife crisis. So some people, get sports cars or a Harley Davidson, but this was for you.
Harley Davidson, no, doesn't do it for me. Ferrari, no. Old grey Fergie, that's what does it for me.
This convertible Bentley, much more my style, built in 1928. I'm with David, who owns this beauty. Very special, isn't it?
It's quite rare, yes. They made about 500 of them.
Everybody admiring it. Do you always get looks wherever you go?
It's great fun, and we enjoy talking to the crowds.
100,000 visitors expected here over the next 3 days, and for the first time children under 14 get in free of charge. So what's lovely about being at the Kent County Show?
Is that we find different cars and we know what the names are. We get to show our car and we get to have lots and lots of fun. There's been a lot of shows and it's quite fun to watch.
Are you having a lovely time?
We are, thank you, yes, especially the weather. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It really is. And who's this?
This is Boris.
Oh, hello, Boris. Does he behave?
He's very good.
So a tricky question. Obviously being from the West Country, what's better, West Country cider or Kentish cider? That tells me everything.
There we go, look, there we go. Tell you no secrets, won't tell you no lies. Look.
And how many pints do you think you're pulling today?
As many as possible, obviously it's a nice hot sunny day, so they've got to keep their fluids up, haven't they?
Here's what this show is all about. A celebration of Kent produce. All that's good from the Garden of England.
It's so hot. How's the cheese holding up in this weather?
We are getting through a few ice packs today, yes. But people are still buying, so that's good. So would you like to try some?
Why not?
Right, here we go. This is our Ashmore cheddar, which is 6 months old, and obviously can stand the weather a lot better than a brie.
Delicious.
Good.
We now do wholesale. We export to France and Hong Kong, and yeah, all up and down the country.
Oh,
it's great.
Hong Kong. So please may I have one?
Of course you can. There we are.
Down the hatch.
Thank you. I mustn't get my top dirty.
Yeah.
What's the verdict?
And there's an event making its debut at this year's show, Pig Agility. With mixed feelings, we decided to give it a go.
They're meant to be going that way. There you go, Sanger. Strawberries from Merryworth.
Very nice, Luke.
Dig in. Do you fancy the Helter Skelter?
How about the Ferris wheel?
Go for it. You're on. Time for an aerial view of the show that could well see a record number of visitors this weekend, with sunshine forecast from start to finish.
And we're joined now by the show's director, Nikki Dawkins. Nikki, the sun has certainly come out for you. It's boiling. You must be thrilled to be back.
Absolutely thrilled. It's been a long 3 years, but we're finally back for our 91st year.
Your 99th year.
99th year for the Society, 100th birthday next year, so even bigger next year.
Tell us, what are your highlights this year?
Oh, there's too many to count, but I just want to say huge thanks to all the volunteers, the staff for pulling it together. It's been a brand new team this year, so there's been a big mountain to climb, but it's been so successful. We're so proud.
And we can't underestimate, it's been a really tough time for the farming community here, hasn't it?
It has, and we're pleased for them too. They've come out in their drones. It's fantastic to see so many people out and about and supporting us and us supporting them equally.
So you've already hinted at it, big things planned for next year, your 100th birthday. Can you give us a bit of a preview?
It is. So the Kent Agricultural Society was founded in 1923, so next year is our big anniversary, 100th birthday for the society. There's going to be a bigger, much better bang with a show next year.
And you were telling me earlier that you're doing this all with a brand new team. Many of them never worked on this before, but next year you're going all out.
Absolutely. We'll know what we're doing next year, so we've come a long way.
Well, I've met lots of people and they've told me you know what you're doing this year. Nikki Dawkins, good luck. We're thrilled for you, and let's just hope the weather continues.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Luke.
And we'll be catching up with more guests soon, including the next generation of farmers. Now, Brexit, the cost of living, farming subsidies, there's no doubt it's been tough. And Charlotte Wilkins has been finding out more about the challenges faced on the farm.
The cherry harvest in full swing at West Hill Farm in Kent. Fruit growing has been in the Baxter family for 70 years. And while each season's success always hangs on the quality of crops, yields and the weather, it's mounting costs in recent months which are now causing most concern.
The roller coaster ride that we've always experienced has got much greater, with deeper curves and troughs, and with labour becoming more difficult to get hold of. And more costly, and our retailers getting stronger and more powerful. Yeah, it's definitely more difficult than it used to be.
Visa changes introduced post-Brexit and the war in Ukraine now means the high turnover of staff has increased the cost of employing fruit pickers to get the produce off the trees.
Last year we had people from Ukraine, which one I'm Ukrainian, and this was no problem in the recent situation. Obviously we don't have Ukrainians here except girls, refugee girls. This year we got people from Kyrgyzstan Republic, Kyrgyzstan, which one travel very long way to come here, and obviously every year you got a new people. You have to provide them a right training to understand what is actually we want from them.
Right, so this is one of our storage complexes where we store mostly apples and pears, some of which could be in here for nearly 12 months. We have a huge amount of solar panels on the top of here, but obviously they don't do quite so much in the winter as they do in the summer. And so our electricity prices have absolutely soared. Just this block here is £60,000 more than it was a year ago.
And it's not really the sort of thing that you can skimp on, is it? Because ultimately, if you don't cool the fruit, it goes to waste.
Yes, the fact remains that right through the main harvest period and right up to Christmas, there's still far more imported fruit sold. And so if people ate more seasonally, we wouldn't need to store so long.
At Watts Farm, the family-run business is used to adapting quickly. Pre-COVID, they supplied supermarkets and five-star restaurants and hotels. But when lockdown was announced, they quickly had to grow the online side of their business to survive.
The overall change now is just getting unsustainable in terms of the challenges that we have in terms of costs, that are unavoidable. So, labour's increased, packaging, fuel. I mean, tractor costs alone, fuel of our tractors is £400,000 this year, which is a good couple £100,000 more than last year. So it does feel like, the things that you've tried so hard to mitigate and manage have become pretty much unmanageable.
Now it's costing farmers hundreds of thousands of pounds more to see the fruits of their labour. Clive is concerned the economic uncertainty may deter the next generation of farmers from taking over. Charlotte Wilkins, ITV News.
Well, I'm joined now by Claire, chair of the NFU in Kent. And Claire, as we heard there in that report, it is an expensive business to be in, isn't it? So does that make it harder to attract people into the farming industry?
Well, if you want to farm in your own right, it's always been difficult to get the capital to get into the industry, so for equipment, livestock or land. But there are ways to do it, and we want to encourage all these guys and say there are really good careers in farming, and there are ways to start your own business in farming. So we used to have county council tenancy farms, but there are paddocks coming up, and you can have flying flocks, for instance, or start small and get bigger.
And for so many reasons, for climate change, the war in Ukraine, we can no longer rely on imports. So do we as consumers need to think more carefully about our food habits?
Well, you know what? British farmers are some of the most environmentally sound and some of the most efficient farmers in the world. We've got really good protection on our environment in the UK. So if you can buy British, you'll know that you're buying it in a country that protects the environment and protects workers' rights, for instance, instead of offshoring that to another country. So buy British, and if you can, buy local and buy seasonal.
Claire, thank you. Right, I'm joined by Megan and Emily now, because the NFU is always keen to nurture future talent in farming. And interestingly, you both don't come from farming families, do you?
No.
So what got you into farming then? What sparked your interest?
Well, I've always had a passion for animals, and the farm is a great opportunity for this, because at the school we have a great team of farm staff that help us train, show us different ways to learn, come to these shows, and it's a great way to show off what we can and actually do.
And what school is that, Megan?
The North School in Ashford.
Wonderful, good plug there. This is Emily. Emily, how old are you?
I'm 13.
And what school do you go to?
Bockhill Performing Arts College.
And tell us what you love about farming then.
I love learning about how our produce is grown and how sustainably it is grown, and the pollinators and plants behind it all, my personal favourite.
And you both obviously love working with the animals, don't you?
Yeah.
What animals do you love?
I love working with the cows because it's just, you get that passion and it makes you happy in that.
Yeah, and what about you?
I love working with the lambs because they're so cute and cuddly.
They are cute. Well, I think here, Sangeeta, some stars of the future in farming.
Luke, they certainly are stars of the future. Megan and Emily, I think I may have a glimpse into your future. Now, you've probably noticed that Matt is not with me this evening, and that's because sadly he contracted COVID earlier this week. But last week he was up at the crack of dawn, because he told me a number of times, to work on a family farm in Kent. And this is what happened when he got stuck in.
In the beautiful East Kent countryside between Canterbury and Sandwich lies Chandler and Dunn, a large family farming business dating back more than 200 years. It's a mixed farm. They grow crops, tend around 200 hectares of orchards, as well as rearing cattle to supply their own butchers. There's always something to do, even just after 5 a.m.
Morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Roger? Yes, Alice?
Yes. Hello.
Sorry I'm late. I hoped to be here slightly earlier. Right, first job of the day.
Right, load the trailer up with the boxes of meat.
Okay, so putting me to use. Oh, heavy. Okay.
Can put it up on the top.
I wasn't expecting it to be quite that heavy.
Sorry.
Roger, thank you.
Oh, steady.
Okay,
Right,
it's going to be a long day.
Brilliant.
I can see that already.
The first job is to get their butcher's trailer to Sandwich Market.
One of the technical bits of the machinery.
Setup doesn't take long, and we're back on the farm before 6:30.
So, Roger, what's next?
Well, we're just going to check a cow that's very near calving.
Okay. How many cattle have you got?
We're around 350 altogether head.
Right.
So we're calving about 160 cows.
Right, okay.
Now.
I'm not a farmer, but that one's not going to be calving anytime soon.
No, that one won't be calving. That's a young bull that we're saving for breeding.
And you're showing some of these at the Kent County Show, is that right?
Yes. We got a team going up to the Kent County Show, and hopefully have the right judge that likes our cattle. Yeah. Great cattle to work with.
There we go. Morning. And work is the operative word. We have to make sure all the cows have had their breakfast before there's any chance of us having ours.
Just going to fork some silage into them.
Okay.
So, if you like to pick up a fork, and we can just...
Sorry, I was happily just watching there, Roger. Yeah, I forgot. We're here to help. Okay, so just chuck it in through the gaps, or...?
Well, just chuck it up so they can eat it,
okay,
so they
fine.
Get their heads through. It's quite
matted together.
Yeah. Normally do it with a tractor, to be honest, but as you're here, you know,
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, great.
Push it in, that's it.
That's better. I'm out of breath. That's pathetic, isn't it?
Well, no,
I've only done 10 minutes worth.
Good.
Right, what's next?
Come on, girls. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Do you ever see a point where you will stop? Is there a retirement plan?
There is a retirement plan, which we put in place several years ago, so we're not a burden to the next generation. But actually retiring is... No, I should probably carry on in a different... Well, I will still be involved in cattle, definitely.
Well, we're in a Braeburn orchard right now. It's probably about 6 years old, this one. What I do, I'm a day-to-day manager. I'm director of the company as well, alongside with my cousins and brothers, so it's a very much a family thing. It is a privilege.
Do you feel the weight of any history on your shoulders?
It's pride. Yeah, it's pride. Of course you want to do right and you want to see it go on for the next generation, because ultimately we're just custodians of the land and we're just looking after it until the next generation take it on from us.
Elsewhere on the farm, Roger's daughter Alice is running the butchers and one or two other enterprises as well.
I guess one of the themes of today is all the little pop-ups around the farm, all those little revenue streams, I guess you'd call them in business terms. I mean, the campsite's just a few weeks old.
Yes, so we've teamed up with a local family, the Nethergon Camping, and we're trialling this campsite as a temporary pop-up. Got the florists and they decorate the marquees and make them look lovely. So between this little area here, we really try and almost create a destination for people to come to.
So what about the future? I mean, I was talking to your dad about his plans for retirement. I'm sure you know this, he doesn't seem to have many plans. He's got the plans, but I don't think he's actually going to see them through next year when he said he was going to. What about you? Do you see a long future ahead of you in farming?
I think so. I mean, as my generation coming in, it's such a prestigious thing to be part of. You know, the history of the farm and the family and how long it's been running. As Dad always says, if you want something to work, you'll make it work.
Sounds like he's still going to be around to help anyway, so...
It's changed so much when I started to what it is now, and it will change again for them. Yeah, I think for the future, we've left it in good health, I think, for the next generation, hopefully.
Well, look, thank you so much for showing us around today.
Well, it's always a pleasure to show people around, especially to see the cattle.
Beautiful indeed, and some really good news today, because the Dunn family, who we saw in Matt's report, who we met last week, picked up 3 awards at the show. Judges thought their Sussex bulls were very well presented in the cattle ring and enough to win 2 top prizes. Congratulations to them.
See, that was all Matt with all his feeding and all
put
that
the work
stuff that he was. You can tell I'm not very good with all my farming terminology.
Not?
I really am not. But the Dunn family may be raising a glass tonight because of that win, perhaps with English wine. Now, climate change has seen big changes for our agricultural industry.
But for the vineyards of Kent and Sussex, it's brought new opportunities, as John Ryle now reports.
It's the oldest vineyard in Kent, and the planting of the first experimental vines here in the 1970s was a bold move. Talk back then of England having the potential to produce world-class wines would have been laughable. But 50 years on, Biddenden Vineyard is having the last laugh.
This 23-acre vineyard has 12 varieties of grape, producing potentially 80,000 bottles a year of white, rosé, red and sparkling English wine. Much has changed in the 50 years that it's been run by the Barnes family, but perhaps the most important change has involved the climate.
With climate change, we've stuck with the varieties we've got, but as an industry overall, we've been able to, to look at other varieties that may have a slightly longer growing season. So the Pinot Noirs, Chardonnays, Pinot Meuniers, all those classic, traditional sparkling wine varieties.
12 different varieties.
Yes.
This is one of them, so tell me a bit about this.
So this is Bacchus, and we're just at the stage at the moment where the grapes are flowering, the bunches of grapes are flowering, and we'll be just tucking in the canopy, and then we will start trimming to keep everything so all the energy is going into the fruit.
This is Bacchus, so this is very popular. It's quite a mainstream one.
Yeah, it's I suppose the sort of Sauvignon Blanc of English wine.
Biddenden has joined forces with 7 other Kent vineyards, marketing themselves as the wine garden of England.
As far as you're concerned, there's no doubt about it. I mean, these are world-class wines.
They are. I mean, they're winning gold medals on an international stage, you know, on all the different competitions.
Julian, who's chairman of the county show, runs Biddenden Vineyard with his 2 sons. One has started a new business, supplying vines for clients, creating vineyards ranging from half an acre to 120 acres.
Business is booming, especially in Kent. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think there's just been a real buzz around English wine in the last 10 years, and there's a lot of people that want to get into the game. I think drinking habits have changed a lot as well, so there's a real market. There's obviously some champagne houses that have bought land in Kent. So you've got Domaine Evermond, which is linked with Tattinger, and they've put their mark down in Kent in the last 5 years.
Sam's brother has planted a variety that originated in the Rhine. Its other notable regions include Australia, Italy and South Africa. Not Kent, not yet.
The next project we've undertaken is Riesling, and my view for that is 30 years' time, you know, will that be something that, you know, England can be known for? What vines and what varieties will be in the ground in 100 years in the UK and in Kent, it'll be a very different scene.
Climate change is expected to present agriculture with many challenges. But in the wine garden of England, it's a challenge they're happy to accept. John Ryle, ITV News, Biddenden.
This is apple juice, I'd like you to know, from Biddenden though. I'm joined by Kees now, who's come all the way from the Netherlands to the Kent County show. A long way to come.
Yeah, it took us 1.5 hours and we were on holiday on the ship to England. And we are already 1 week here on holiday, and we came to this fair on the special environment and the atmosphere here. Yeah.
But you came here last in 2019, so it's somewhere that you like to come to. Why? What makes this special?
The people, they are all interested in all the old things, the steam engines, the old English, the old cars and so on. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in your car, and you're going to give us a lift later, aren't you? Yeah, look forward to it.
You're welcome. Yes.
Back to you, Luke.
Well, also here is the birds of prey, whether it's a falcon, a hawk or an owl. There are daily shows here in the Countryside Ring or over there in the Woodland Ring, and that's what Tom Savides has been up to today.
Well, I'm here with Lancelot, a Lanner falcon, and look how incredible and beautiful this bird of prey is. Absolutely amazing, and the person looking after the birds of prey here at the Kent County Show is Joe Rains. Joe, what can we see when you put on your displays?
So we'll be flying a whole range of different types of birds of prey, from owls, falcons, hawks and even a bird called a caracara, and we'll be flying them in the Countryside Ring twice a day throughout the whole weekend.
How difficult is it getting them to take part in the displays? They are, after all, wild creatures.
Yeah, so these birds have been doing this for many years. It takes a lot of training to get them to this point, and just a sort of a big show like this, we've done lots of preparation to be ready for the show.
And what other birds can we see, for example? You have others here.
Yeah, so we have a Harris hawk here. This is Eva. She's about 9 years old now. She's done every single show that I've ever done. She's enjoying the sun today. She does come from sort of the deserts of America, so she's very, very used to this lovely weather. So you might see her doing some sunbathing today. We've got Lanner falcons, who are both going to be doing shows over the weekend. We've then got a bird called Rufus, who is a long-legged buzzard. We then have Albert, who is a type of bird called a caracara, and these birds come from the Falkland Islands. And then we've then got a couple of very small owls called burrowing owls that will be in the ring again for both of the displays.
Now, obviously they're tethered at the moment, but they are wild birds. They're not always tethered, are they?
No, so these birds are only tethered for the show, because obviously we can't just have them loose flying around. So as you can see, they're very, very happy, very, very chilled out, sitting here enjoying the weather. They've all got water where they can have a lovely bath afterwards. But when they go back to our centre in Faversham, they've all got their own free flight aviaries to go into.
Okay. Joe, thanks for talking to us this evening, and all I've got to say is happy flying.
Happy flying, safe travels to Tom. And if you want to see what else Luke and I have been up to today, remember you can do on our social media channels. We also have all the day's news on our website, itv.com/Meridian. And you'll also be interested in the headline that Tunbridge and Morling MP Tom Tugendhat obviously bidding for the Tory leadership. So everything you need to know on our website.
Now, the Kent County Show is on for the next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. If you are coming down to the Detling Showground, then it has been very warm. It's going to be warm. Don't forget your sun cream. But let's find out what's in store over the weekend. Here's Chris Page.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there. Very good evening to you. Today across much of the region there has been a lot of sunshine around, always a touch cooler towards the coast, but inland our temperatures have jumped into the mid to high 20s. And well, for the weekend, staying dry for all of us. A heat wave is likely to take hold and be declared as we head through Sunday and Monday of the weekend and into next week as temperatures just continue to rise. And it's thanks to this large area of high pressure at the moment drifting its way in from the east. Notice the winds stay fairly light, the wide spacing on the isobars, and underneath this area of high pressure the temperatures just continue to rise with this very warm air mass pushing its way across the British Isles. For the rest of this evening and overnight though, we've got a weakening weather front slipping its way southwards. That will just bring some patchy amounts of cloud here and there, but with some clear spells by dawn tomorrow morning, most areas will hold up between 15 and 16 degrees Celsius. We start tomorrow then on Saturday, the first day of the weekend. Yes, there'll be one or two bits of cloud through the morning, but for most of us through the day tomorrow, it's enough wall-to-wall sunshine, gin clear skies, light winds. Don't forget UV levels are very high, so do protect your skin if you're out in that sunshine. Top temperatures tomorrow not as high as today, but still could be into the mid-20s. Here times of high water for tomorrow there, looking at Dover at 12 minutes past 7 tomorrow morning and just after 20 to 8 tomorrow evening. As we go through Sunday, the temperatures continue to rise into the high 20s once again, into the low 30s on Monday and Tuesday, and staying warm overnight too. Pollen's next.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Now I have some good news for our hay fever sufferers. After having very high levels of grass pollen over the last few weeks, pollen levels are dropping to high as we go through the coming few weeks as we head towards the end of the grass pollen season. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Well, coming up next, it's the ITV Evening News tonight with Charlene White. We've really enjoyed ourselves today, haven't we? It's great to see the show's return to Detling.
It is. It's been absolutely fabulous. Thank you to all the viewers who came to say hello. And here's to next year when the Kent County Show celebrates its 100th birthday.
Well, we will leave you now with some of the highlights from the day, the best pictures, if you like. Do have a great weekend if you are coming.
See you Monday. Bye.
We're off to the Netherlands now.